to another episode of the Self-Development Tactics podcast. It has been really quite some time, probably, if I'm not mistaken, maybe even 2 weeks since the last recording. Maybe a week. Things tend to feel quite long. But one of the initial thoughts for the podcast was working on my English and developing certain skills, reading, quite actually, especially reading. I'm not an avid reader, at least when it comes to books, definitely not the case when it comes to articles and other things that I'm just interested in. Definitely the case, but still, I am seeing quite the decline when it comes to my English skills in the past few weeks, I'd say. Really interesting, really interesting. But yeah, anyway, we're gonna model something really quick or quickly in Blender. It is gonna be some sort of an experimental architecture, I would argue. And maybe then afterwards, we're also gonna go through something maybe even architectural theory related stuff. It heavily depends on how fast I am now and how fast I'm working here today. But yeah, I'm gonna show you this thing. Where is it? There we go. There we go. So, because the last time we went through Pragmatism by William James, as I'm just seeing it right now, which is an incredibly useful way of thinking and living, at least at my point of view. Is this? Yeah, this is it. It basically is all about using everything that we're having at hand to our good, for certain benefits. Whatever it might be, whether it is religion, whether it is, me doing the podcast, whatever it is, believing in certain things, deliberately believing in certain things so that they benefit us. If this makes sense or not, I can't really tell. As you can see here, I have already done a bit because I had to wait for some shit and whatever. It is something, but at the same time, it is quite nothing. I'm gonna get rid of the material that we're having here. I do want to have some sort of a, well, let's call it waterish scene, but some bit dystopian, kind of with a bit of dust there, here and there, and some Mars like structures or terre, whatever. But we will see. I was just before thinking how we could, maybe it's actually better to lay this one down. Sometimes, actually quite often it is the case, the things laying down. This is already quite detailed. It is not super or whatever, but this might actually do the trick and therefore look look better. I think that I'm gonna layer them in some way, then joining them together, and maybe afterwards letting it remesh using voxels or maybe some other technique, and then maybe there is some outcome that is quite interesting. Of course, one could really go into detail and well, add railings and whatever there is and stuff like that, but we're not going to do this today out of time reasons. So let's assemble these three elements, maybe actually like this, yes, and then we're gonna join them, and then we are having a look at the this is actually quite interesting that I'm still having all those three elements available all those 3 textures available to use. Let's see what we're having here. We're having the remesh. Maybe we are remeshing it, which looks quite interesting. What about sharp? What about smooth? Maybe we need a bit more depth. Let's see. Whatever this is, I don't know. I mean, this is something. We could also go to blocks and see if this is good. I mean, it is something. I mean, it is something. I don't know yet if I like it. What if we are smoothing it? Might do the trick. No, it's just looking shitty as fuck. Great. What about voxels then? Voxels are indeed producing the best outcome. Maybe they should actually be bigger so that it is more, maybe not as well. 0.5, maybe a bit smaller indeed. Yeah. Apparently something like this. We might actually as well displace it a tiny bit. We're gonna use this certain texture here, and we're gonna add maybe a noise, maybe not that noise, or maybe not this effect. I do want to have something a bit more smooth. Nothing that is overly crazy. What about blending it? Blending it might actually do the trick. Blending might indeed do the trick, or we're clouding it. But having quite the big size, or maybe something like this, because this is as well doing something. Looks like a bit of, it looks a bit like a spaceship. We might actually tilt it back up again, but I think that this is fine. What we're going to do now is as well subdividing it again to have a bit more detail even. And I do really hope that nothing is going to crash here. I have subdivided it before, like 2 times I think, and it might already be quite dense of a mesh, but this is definitely something different. So we're going to apply this, and then we're going to see what we can do with it. Maybe we're going to add a wireframe to it, which regarding resources and regarding computing power is never a good idea. But I want to try it anyway. We could have decimated it as well, creating and or letting it build up, which quite often does create certain interesting effects because we're having some random holes. Let's create a camera, and let's do it to 160 by 2700, which is 4 by 5, which is the do you see everything? Yes, which is the regular aspect ratio that I am using for Instagram. Of course, you can choose 1 by 1 as well, but I think, and at least for me, 4 by 5 looks a bit more beautiful. Let's see what we're having here. I have already incorporated a sun that apparently is way too concentrated, I would say. You know, we're having a really harsh shadow, which I do not really like in general. I'm not really into hard shadows, but I think it's actually, you know, already quite interesting. We might then go a bit further away and add maybe a human. Of course, you could do this in Photoshop then as well, but something that we are definitely going to do is adding water there, but also adding a mesh, a landscape there in the middle. We could definitely do that in here. Where is this landscape? Ah, it's tiny. Okay, there we go. Having a bit of a landscape there so that we can maybe this is indeed gonna be sandish. Maybe wet and rocky sand. Maybe it's gonna be this. This is gonna be water. But it was actually quite difficult to find some water that is somewhat usable and not really boring. I'd like to have something with caustics, but it kind of doesn't really work. At least not now. Not how I would like it to work. We might actually also use some ice, some cracked ice. Might also be interesting, but really does set a different story and a different theme for the whole thing. Icy rock, volumetric smoke, atmosphere. We might actually also use that. Let's actually add that. Is this added to that now? Yeah, it is, apparently. Car paint. Sometimes it's actually quite a good idea not to use something translucent or transparent, but just something reflective. But today we are indeed gonna use something realistic. Let me just save this project now because I don't want to lose it. We might increase the size of this bit of no. Okay, I'm seeing an issue there. I don't like the water. Maybe we need this water. Already looks way better. Way better indeed. Looks actually quite good. As I said, I would like to have some river water. What about that? Also is good, but I do like the whatever one a tiny bit better. Frozen water, snow might actually also be cool. Nah, I don't like it that much. I have seen a few ones with caustics actually. I don't know. Procedural caustics and foam water. But for some reason, this just really is not working. Maybe because, I don't know if the geometry is just if it is not dense enough or some shit. I don't really know. We could use a subdivision surface there and then maybe add this one and then see and really pray that it's not gonna crash. But no, it doesn't, but it also does not really look good. There's actually one with sand and stones, which actually really looks shitty. Let's actually add snowscape with clouds. I would like to have some clouds. Maybe it's just also going to be a sea scene. Maybe it's indeed just going to be a sea scene. I mean, here it looks quite nice. It at least is fine. It's not bad. Not bad at all. This is also interesting, but what about the snow thing? What about the snow thing? But a bit of a problem here is the that one can see the island down there. That I do not particularly like. Maybe we are indeed gonna use this one. This HDR but we are gonna rotate it maybe. I mean it really is quite dark, isn't it? I think that I have not that long ago seen that there is environment texture, that there is indeed. Was it there? I don't actually remember. This is the problem there. I thought that there is an atmosphere or sky, sky element there somewhere, or just, you know, option. But I don't really remember, to be honest. I thought, wow, cool, you know, that's definitely usable for some project. Unless, of course, you forget about it, then it really is not usable. But it's okay, I guess. I mean, we could definitely also use that one, but you know, maybe regarding that what about the pond water though? This is also okay. You know, it's not nice. Could also use some dirt there, but I don't want to do so. Let's actually head back to this one. I think this is quite nice, or at least it is okay. What we could definitely do is doing that and making this landscape a bit bigger. Maybe something like this, and maybe this one should indeed be okay, that's a good question. I'll tilt it in that direction a tiny bit, and then in this direction a tiny other bit, and then a tiny bit like this again, so that we're having it somewhat standing. This might actually make things even more interesting. And yes, it does. Let's arrange this one here as well a bit. I mean, it is fine. It's not the greatest artwork I've ever seen, but I think it is fine. What about we indeed need this, do we? I would really like to have now this cloud sky surface preview. Volume, was there something? I don't think so, to be honest. Glass, no. I don't think so. I guess, but we could also have just a white background. I am just thinking about, yeah, I think for the sake of this shit, maybe I would actually really like to know where I found its sky texture. This is it. Yeah, right. This is it. Now we can indeed get rid of the sun entirely. The sky texture. There we go, because there's also a sun disk there with, and we're gonna make this a tiny bit bigger. And we are already also getting certain interesting effects there. Don't really like the sand. Maybe we're gonna make a rock out of it. But this is actually quite okay. Cliff rock maybe. This didn't do anything, did it? Rock core also really sounds good, but really looks shitty. That's insane. I don't know. This is fine, I guess. It's fine at the best. Sun intensity, sun size. Maybe it's also gonna be a 50. Sometimes a tiny bit smaller is good. Altitude, whatever this does. Sun elevation. Very much down there. Looks actually quite good, and especially on the other side. Looks quite a bit better. What we're gonna do to this main model thing there. Is changing the texture of it. We're having actually multiple textures available there. I would like to see if, I mean, it looks quite nice, you know, it's not bad. I would say. Please don't die. Okay, this... Well, it is indeed. Okay, cool. So we are gonna get rid of this one and this one as well, because apparently they do not do anything here. We might actually also get rid of this thing there, because I like the color of the main part. Seashore. Seashore might be interesting. Something that maybe we should do is UV unwrapping it, because quite often I found, yes, that it is a huge issue. And now we're having some really nice stuff down there. It's actually really getting together. I'm starting not to dislike it. But we should definitely also save before we are doing anything to the main thing. And we're also gonna UV unwrap this one, because chances are that things are gonna crash now, especially also because I'm recording and then whatever, it's also taking away resources and stuff. But yeah, chances are. I'm really impressed by the sky texture. I really do like it. It theoretically makes things quite a lot easier. Had I known it before. But it is what it is, you know. Can't do anything about it anyway. I might indeed end the episode there and just, you know, let it load. I would have really liked to go through something self-development related today, but this was way more efficient, I'd say. And, you know, still having the practice and then whatever. Is it done now? No, it's not. Okay. I really hope that's gonna be fine. I'd love to have this as a good model. It actually looks quite great. If it is architecture related, I wouldn't necessarily say so. I don't think so. But yeah. With that being said, I'm hopefully gonna see you the next time. So